there, planners. Today I am going to do a flip through of the month of October in my Stalogy A5 bullet journal and just kind of chat a little bit about different spreads and also put some relaxing music on and do a flip through. So go grab your bullet journals and let's get planning. All right, so the month of October began with a cover page which has some acetate with an October calendar on it. I actually made this calendar in Canva and then printed it on a piece of acetate. I also put down a piece of this beautiful orange cardstock from the scrapbooking store. I am loving the scrapbooking store and a lot of their supplies, so I do have that link down below. So next up is my catch-all calendar, and this is a little bit messy and scribbly at the end of the month because I really do use this just to capture everything. It's my master calendar for the month, and I come in here and write anything that comes up or anything I'm anticipating, anything scheduled, anything last minute. I come in here and I use this quite a bit. Again, I have some of the scrapbooking store cardstock and stickers to decorate it initially, but then after that it's mostly just pen, not a lot of stickers. The next spread is my October brain dump, and I also made just sort of like a mood board here. I made these with Canva and images, free images out of Canva, and then put it on a piece of cardstock. But I really like just having one master brain dump place, and you can see not everything is checked off. I didn't get everything done. Some things I moved over to the month of November, some things I did not. All right, the declutter task for the month of October is a really sad story, as you can see. I did not make very good progress on my closet, and part of the reason why I know is because it actually stayed fairly warm in the area that I live in, and so I just was not very motivated to pull out my winter clothes and do a lot of organizing in there because I know I'm going to have to pull out winter clothes at some point in time. So I made a little bit of progress, but not much. A lot of this I'm going to have to move into November and take care of it now. My weather tracker, and actually I can add in the last one that I forgot to add in. I absolutely love to track the weather. I'm kind of a nerd about tracking weather. And so this is one of my favorite spreads in my bullet journal. I love to come back and look at this all completed. Lots of sunny days in the month of October. All right, here's the monthly meal plan. And this is the first month I've used a monthly meal plan. I do have a video on my meal planning process and how I sort of translate the meal plan into grocery list. I'll link that up above if you want to see the complete process. But prior to this, I was planning weekly meals, each week of the month, and I just wanted a master view of it. I think this will be really handy to come back to in the future when I'm looking for meal ideas. So I really liked this, and I did recreate this in my November spreads. I have my gratitude journal list as well as my mood tracker. So I ended up adding this after setup. I just kind of came in and drew some messy pumpkins. And I've got a couple that I got to color in. But, very simple, great, good, meh, and bad. I really only had one bad day in the month of October, so that was awesome. But I kind of like being able to track moods, and so I use this page across from Gratitude Journal for that reason. All right, the next section we get into are the weekly spreads, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on here because honestly what I learned about the weekly spreads is that they are very duplicative because I really started to embrace in the month of October using daily pages, and I have learned a lot using daily pages, and I actually want to continue using daily pages going forward. And in the month of November, I'm not even setting up weekly spreads. I'm only using dailies. So it's a little difficult to transition away from weeklies because I've used them for so many years. But it's just really duplicative of what I have in my dailies, and I've found myself not really coming back to them, and I was wasting time to set them up, as well as, supplies to decorate them. So I'm going to try no weeklies in the month of November and see how that goes. All right, now we're getting into my daily spreads, and I will flip through these, but I will say there's going to be some blurring out because I really use my daily spreads for reminding me of the things I need to do, but also a lot of journaling. I have really enjoyed the journaling aspect of the daily spreads, and I try to come to them in the first thing in the morning and last thing at night, and make sure that I have, captured kind of either Bible verses from my Bible study in the morning or just highlights of the day. Here is a spread that I set up to start thinking about Christmas and Christmas lists, Christmas planning, things I want to get done. I actually am formalizing it a little bit more further in, but I've got a lot of sticky notes here, and this was a great way to kind of get all my ideas out of my head. I use this page to start researching a goal that I'm going to have next year in 2021. So I have tons of photos from the time my children were born, before my children were born. I have tons of photos, and they are basically all digital. And I really want to have sort of that, traditional family photo album, but I want to be a little bit more creative than just sticking them in a photo album. So I thought it would be a great idea to start making scrapbooks. Now, it's a huge project, and especially thinking about going all the way back to, before my kids were born years ago, and, scrapbooking all of them. So I know it's a long-term project, and I'm going to try to take it one piece at a time, one year at a time, or one segment of life at a time. But I do want to start that project next year. And so I was using this page just to do a little bit of research and come up with some ideas in preparation for making this a goal in 2020. This whole section, these next few pages, are all research that I was doing based on a book that I was reading. And really thinking about gut health. I spent a good portion of the month of October really on a very restricted diet, my gut healthy again. And so this was all meal plan ideas and, good foods, bad foods, and just learning about the different, the different things I wanted to focus on in the month of October for overall gut health. And I have to say, at the end of the month, I am feeling really good and kind of cleaned out for the holidays. So this was just a way to capture all of that. All right, back into the dailies. And I do tend to use vellums between my daily pages, and it just kind of helps me focus on one day at a time. Most of these I either created myself. There's a DIY project for a video that I did on how to make these vellums. Of some of these, I'll link that above, but these came out just beautiful. I'm really, really happy with the way these came out. It was by the second or third week in October that I really started to get into a groove with daily pages. So using the left-hand side for more of like to-dos and planning, and the right-hand side more for journaling. I really started to get into a rhythm with that and figure out how I wanted to use the daily pages. And again, I have just really been enjoying it. All right, these next couple of pages I'm going to skip past because they are actually very detailed Christmas list for my family. And so for my family members, my kids, my husband, our parents, things like that. And so I'm going to skip over that, but it is a great tool, and I do have it tabbed and marked. It's a great tool to have in my bullet journal so that I can quickly reference it and track it as I'm buying Christmas gifts this year. So this is the last week of the month, and I actually have not gone back in yet and added in the vellum. What I typically do is either add it as I go or go back at the end of the week and put them back in, add in between each daily page, vellums or dividers. All right, and that finishes up the month and brings me to the last page, which is a monthly review where I just captured highlights, improvement areas, and some currently items like what I'm currently loving, watching, eating, listening to, drinking, things like that. I like to just keep up with that when I look back. And this actually came out of I believe it was a Martha Stewart magazine. Every month there's, sort of a page with a quote about the month. Those are so handy for putting in my bullet journal. So that is the end of the month of October, and that gets us into November. If you haven't seen the November setup video, I'll link it up above. And I would welcome any questions from you about things you'd like to ask more about, or maybe wanting to understand how I'm using different aspects of my bullet journal. I'd love to hear from you. Are there tools that you're using to make your monthly and daily setups more productive, or how are you? What spreads are you incorporating into your bullet journal? Subscribe to Plan and Annie for more content like this. Give me a thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed it, and as always, thanks for planning with me.